Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley. We continue to follow a developing story in Harlan County tonight where a protest involving Black Jewel miners and family members continues to grow. It's happening at a train crossing near the Clover Lick mine in Cumberland. It started earlier today with just a few miners when it appeared a CSX train was loaded with coal from the closed mine. Now, this comes nearly 1 month after Black Jewel filed for bankruptcy, and hundreds of miners are still waiting for weeks of pay. WYMT's Connor James is live near the protest with an update. Connor?
Right now, it's cornhole and music as these men say they plan on being out here along US 119 right outside of Cumberland, all night. Now, they really have just one message. They want their money and they want what's owed to them. Now, let's kind of look back at what led up to this. This all started at around 3:30 today. That's when words kind of turned into action here. They want, like I said, their main messages. They want their money and they want what's owed to them. It all stemmed from that train carrying coal out of the Clover Lick mine here in Harlan County. About 4 people originally stood in front of the tracks that was down over right in front of the mine. That ended up turning into about a dozen. Kentucky State Police broke that up at around 5:30. Those men kind of left that area and decided to come out over here, which they've kind of made their home for right now. There's a little over 50-some people here, and there's been trickling in and out throughout the night. They said they had a much bigger crowd a little bit ago, but they planned on doing that to continue to have a large crowd out here throughout the night. Like I said, a lot of them are out here with their families, friends, and they really say, Steve, that they really have no plans on leaving soon. So this will be something we'll continue to update throughout the night. I'm in Harlan County, Steve. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, it sounds like they're starting to chant or sing something. Connor, any idea how long they plan to stay out there? And are they actually blocking a train right now?
Really? Yeah. From what we kind of understand, there's still a train down that way that they're blocking. It can't come up through here. They really tell me they'll be out here as long as it takes. They really want to send that message to the people who run Revelation and Black Jewel.
All right, Connor James live there at the scene of that protest on railroad tracks near Cumberland. Thank you very much. Now, this started, as Connor mentioned, earlier this afternoon when only about a dozen laid-off Black Jewel miners tried to block a train from leaving, and then Kentucky State Police got involved briefly. Now, this is happening, of course, near one of the many mines owned by Revelation Energy and Black Jewel that is yet to pay hundreds of miners for weeks of work. WYMT's Emily Bennett says their message is simple. They just want their money. She continues our team coverage.
This Thursday marks 1 month since Black Jewel declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The hundreds of miners still have yet to be paid and feel no closer to answers than on day one.
It's been rough the last month because I ain't had no money coming in.
Chris Lewis was one of dozens who saw this locked fence and loaded train taking coal away from the mine.
I heard they was loading trains. I was going to see if there's a company official over here to ask them when I was going to get my money.
He's thousands in the hole.
Pay us. That's all we want, no money, what we work for. Pay us.
Many others had that same message. They just want their money. Around 3:30 Monday afternoon, that message turned into action.
We're just here to do it for all the coal miners that got bankrupt and haven't been paid yet. They're sitting here loading trains. Exactly why we're doing it.
Shortly before 6 o'clock Monday, Kentucky State Police broke the protest up. No one ended up being arrested at that time. Shane Smith was on the tracks. He watched as the train passed by.
We want our money more than anything. Go back to work, we want our money. They owe us money, we can't get our unemployment. They won't give our 401k to us. I mean, there's a bunch of us out of work. They didn't pay our 401k in, they didn't pay our child support in, and our last check's bounced. We want our money.
His story is similar to many miners we talked to. Still no money and still no answers. In Harlan County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
We have reached out to the attorney for Black Jewel, hoping for some of those answers. We've yet to hear anything. The company's next court date is just days away on July 31st. An Eastern Kentucky organization is now trying to help those miners find new job opportunities. WYMT's Madison Pergram has that part of the story.
It has been nearly 1 month since the Black Jewel miners have been without a paycheck after the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
They deserve it, they need it.
Deserve and need help and opportunities.
There is plenty of opportunities for them to retrain, and we're here to help them.
Something that many across Eastern Kentucky have been trying to provide miners, including the Eastern Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program, also known as EKSEP.
It's in times like these where we partner with businesses and community action and our colleges around the area to kind of pull together collaborative opportunities.
Opportunities, part of a vision that EKSEP and its executive director Jeff Whitehead are very familiar with.
Our vision is that we get the skill set there, and now we start having people like DashCore and other companies come.
Providing miners with as many opportunities to get them back on their feet. That includes 2 upcoming job fairs, August 20th in Letcher County and August 21st in Harlan.
Life gives you a blow, and you step back and you try to make the best decision now.
Keeping focused on one thing.
Keep a positive attitude and keep working.
It's about giving miners something they deserve.
Make sure that these guys get what they've been working for a long time.
Continuing to give hope in times of uncertainty. In Hazard, Madison Pergram, WYMT Mountain News.
And if you're looking for more information, we have contact numbers on our website. You can also see tonight's issues and answers with 3 EKSEP officials on WYMT.com.
Overall, it wasn't a bad day here in the mountains, but that'll change as that cold front quickly approaches here as we head into tomorrow. Go ahead and check out today. Looking along Interstate 64 in Moorhead, we saw a few clouds here and there, but overall, those drier conditions throughout the day. Even as we look at satellite and radar, we maybe saw an isolated shower, maybe 1 or 2 popping up earlier this afternoon, maybe cooled you off a little bit. But other than that, we have definitely remained on the drier side. You'll notice as we look out to the west, there's that rain approaching that'll arrive a little bit later tomorrow, and that's due once again because of that cold front that'll be moving into the mountains a little bit later for your Tuesday, a little bit into your Wednesday as well. Those temperatures outside, not too bad. You'll notice those 60s down into Harlan, Middlesboro. Noticing those low to mid 70s though. Still pretty warm if you're looking up into parts of Moorhead, 77, or the 77 over into Richmond, is 71 here in Hazard. So once again, that cold front moves in tomorrow. Like I said, could be soggy at times, but not too bad. Now we'll hang on to a few of those rain chances, but overall it's not looking like a total washout over the next couple of days. And a nice weekend ahead, 2 in a row possibly. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
All right, Paige, thank you. Officials say prostitution is becoming more popular in Eastern Kentucky. Women and men are selling sexual favors to fuel their drug addictions. Doctors say usually those in prostitution are depressed.
If you need dope, you don't have any money, you go steal something, sell it and trade it, whatever, go buy your dope. If you need dope, you can't steal something. If somebody's interested in you, has got some dope, then you trade a sexual favor for their dope.
If you or a loved one is in need of counseling or a place to live, you can call the West Care Emergency Shelter at 606-432-9442. A man is left with nothing after his home in Perry County burned to the ground this afternoon. The Vicco Volunteer Fire Department responded to the call, but when they got there, the damage was already done. The fire hydrant near the house did not work, leaving firefighters to use one half a mile down the road. The neighboring house was left with its siding melted off. The owner of the home that burned, Matthew Sumner, is a veteran of the fire department.
Hopefully we can give him some help out here and everything for him and his family. So we deeply regret that we couldn't do any more.
No one was home during the fire. Firefighters say the flames began in the back of the house. The cause has not yet been determined. It's been nearly 2 weeks since a McCreary County deputy was shot in the line of duty. Deputy Tyler Watkins was responding to a domestic dispute. Kentucky State Police say Mark Dungan shot at the deputy moments after he arrived. But as the deputy waited for help, 2 nearby officers with a different agency were told not to respond. New at 11, Miranda Combs looked into the policy stopping 2 probation and parole officers from helping.
In a county like McCreary, covered in tight back roads that wind all over, a 5-mile drive really isn't that far. 5 miles here can mean the difference between life and death.
I've known you for 20 years. I haven't seen you this angry.
Well, it's, you know, when an officer goes down, you know, it's a standing rule in law enforcement. Everybody goes. If you're close, you drop what you're doing and you go. You know, and the hell with policy and the hell with procedure. You go.
On July 16th, officials say McCreary County Deputy Tyler Watkins was shot twice by Mark Dungan after Deputy Watkins showed up at Dungan's home to do a welfare check. Commonwealth's attorney Ronnie Bowling says at the time, a constable and a volunteer firefighter were 3 miles away, and 2 probation and parole officers were 5 miles away. The probation and parole officers called their supervisor and explained they were driving to the scene to assist law enforcement.
And they were given the stand down order while actively we had a deputy who was bleeding to death.
According to the Department of Corrections, there is a policy in place that a probation and parole officer only has jurisdiction over someone on probation or parole. Since that wasn't the case here, their supervisor told them not to go help the downed deputy.
And then to be called off is outrageous. It's totally outrageous.
Ironically, there's a good chance the probation and parole officers have more training than some of the sheriffs in this state.
It's a shame that they're held down by some ridiculous directive or policy or KRS statute.
Keep in mind, this is a rural part of Kentucky where there are very few law enforcement officers. In bigger cities, there's plenty of officers and no need for probation and parole to get involved. We asked to sit down with the Department of Corrections Director of Probation and Parole. She declined, but did send a statement saying they stand by what happened that night in McCreary County. They say probation and parole officers aren't trained to be first responders, or they might hurt a police investigation. So in a nutshell, they say nothing went wrong that night.
And it's not something that needs to be kicked down the road, because this exact same situation can happen right now, today.
Williamsburg Police Chief Wayne Bird says his officers work with probation and parole officers every day because the probation and parole office is in his town.
Now that I know this, you know, I'm going to have to rethink the way we do things, because I'm just not comfortable with my officers being out there assisting an agency who I know is not going to assist my officers in time of need.
You believe that this only helps exacerbate a divide?
When you have supervisors and legal telling department heads that we're not going to send people to your officers in distress, how can it not create a divide?
Ironic, coming from a place where even the roads aren't big enough to have a divide. In McCreary County, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
In other news, the Pike County School District recently implemented a new program to help incoming freshmen transition into high school. Link Crew will use seniors and juniors as mentors for new freshmen. The program, brought to the district by Gear Up, kicked off today as students went through the training process to see what they will be teaching the incoming students. Later this week, the students will lead the freshmen through the program during orientation at their respective schools. During the school year, they will be available to help the students through the high school experience.
How exciting is that? 4 years high school, that's a big deal. All right, knowing that you're going to have somebody to be with you, those 4 years, 3 years, all the way down to you graduate, there's nothing greater than that.
The training for the upperclassmen will continue tomorrow. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, we'll tell you about a massive data breach at one of America's largest credit card companies.
And those rain chances return as a cold front moves in Tuesday. I'll look at that full forecast coming up.